Hi, my name is Beckett Thomas. Today I'm going to walk you through a tool I built called the Driver-DCF model, a live, interactive, discounted cash flow valuation platform. The problem this solves is simple. DCF models are one of the most powerful tools in finance, but they're usually locked inside complex Excel spreadsheets that are hard to understand, hard to adjust, and impossible to share interactively. My goal was to build something that felt more like a financial cockpit where you enter a stock ticker, the app pulls real market data automatically, and you can immediately see and manipulate a full DCF valuation in real time. Let me show you how it works. I'm going to use Apple, which is the ticker AAPL, as my example today. I'll type it in the sidebar under the custom ticker that you see on the side. And as you can see, the app is now pulling live financial data from Yahoo Finance. That includes the revenue, operating margins, CapEx, depreciation and amortization, tax rate, cost of debt, all directly from Apple's actual 10K filings weighed over the last 3 years. The app opens on the Narrative tab. This is intentional. Before we do any math, we want to understand the business. We can see the Apple's sector of technology, its beta, which measures market risk, and its debt-to-equity ratio. The app also runs a Reverse-DCF in the background. It tells us what revenue growth rate the current market price of Apple is implying. Right now, you can see the figure here at 27%, which gives us a grounded starting point for our own analysis. I'll also note that at the bottom of this tab, you'll see the disclaimer that this tool is for educational purposes only. It does not constitute investment advice. Now, let's move to the Projections tab. On the left, we see our model input, our assumptions. On the right, we see our output, projected EBIT and free cash flows to the firm over the 5 years. Let me walk you through the key assumptions. The revenue growth factor. I've set this using the analyst calibrated pathway, which starts this slider at market implied growth rate from the Reverse-DCF. For Apple, that's about 27%. This means the market is pricing in this level of growth. You can agree or disagree, and that's the analyst's job. Our gross margin. Apple runs at about 46.2% gross margin historically. This is high for a hardware company or a technology company because of their services revenue mix. Our operating expenditures. This captures SG&A and research and development as a percentage of revenue. Combined with gross margin, this gives us our EBIT. Depreciation and amortization and capital expenditures. These are our non-cash adjustments and reinvestment costs that convert EBIT into free cash flows. Apple's capital expenditures is relatively lean at 2.8%, which is a hallmark for asset-light businesses. We also see our tax rate. This app calculates the actual effective tax rate from Apple's filings, which is more accurate than just using the statutory 21%. Now, let's move on to the Valuation Engine tab. This is where the DCF math happens. And there are 3 panels: capital structure, cost of capital, and implied value. Under capital structure, we enter the share price here. The shares outstanding underneath that, and the debt to calculate market value weights for the weighted average cost of capital. The cost of capital. This is our weighted average cost of capital build. We start with the live 10-year treasury yield as our risk-free rate. The app fetches this automatically. Then we add the equity risk premium. I'm using 5%, which is the consensus for US equities, multiplied by Apple's beta. That gives us our cost of equity. We add the after-tax cost of debt weighed by the capital structure, and we get our weighted average cost of capital at 9.7%. Next is our implied value. Finally, I set a terminal growth rate of 2%. Roughly, this is the long-term run US GDP growth. The model discounts at all projected cash flows back at weighted average cost of capital, adds the present values of the terminal value using Gordon's growth, adds cash, subtracts debt, and divides by shares outstanding. The result, a fair value per share of 263.9 $2.99, which is very close to the actual share price of today. And you can see whether that implies an upside or downside versus the current market price right underneath. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Let me show you what happens when I change the key assumptions. If I were to increase the equity risk premium from 5% to 6%, we see that our weighted average cost of capital jumps to 10.79%. And watch the fair value of the shares drop. This is because a higher discount rate means future cash flows are worth less today. This is exactly what happens when interest rates rise. It mechanically compresses equity valuation. Now, let me change the terminal growth rate from 2% to 3%. As we can see, that the value jumps. The terminal value is extremely sensitive to this assumption because it represents the infinite future of the business. This is why analysts argue so much about it. Finally, let me go back to the projection tab and drop the revenue growth rate, let's say from 27% to 5%. This is right here. Watch the free cash flows to the firm projections collapse, and consequently, the enterprise and equity values fall significantly. This is the whole point of the model. Every assumption has a consequence, and you have to be able to justify each one. Now, let's try out another ticker. Let's say Microsoft. And we'll go back to the narrative. This shows a very different but similar comparison in business profile. Notice right away, as we go into our projections, that the gross margin is significantly higher than Apple's. Microsoft's cloud and software businesses command premium margins. The beta is also lower, which will contribute to the lower weighted average cost of capital, meaning we discount cash flows less aggressively. Let me change this back to the original. Look at the analyst calibrated mode here. The market implied growth rate for Microsoft is the 27.7%, and comparing to Apple's at the 27%, we are able to, the market is pricing at a less growth for Apple than it is for Microsoft. If I run the full valuation, same methodology, same terminal growth rate, same general approach, I get a fair value of $404.79. The upsides or downsides look close, but slightly different than Apple's because of its own firm structure. This is the power of having a standardized framework. You can compare companies, apples to apples, no pun intended, because the same assumptions and methodology are applied consistently. Now, let's change it back to Apple as we continue through. I will now show you our last section, which is the sensitivity analysis. And this is my favorite part of the model. Instead of giving you one answer, it gives you a range of possible answers for across a grid of assumptions. And for this, I've added 4 tables. The top 2 tables vary weighted average cost of capital on the vertical axis and terminal growth rate on the horizontal axis, showing both equity value per share and implied EV/EBITDA multiple. The bottom 2 tables use the exit EBITDA multiple instead of Gordon's growth as the terminal value method, an alternative approach commonly used in private equity. The highlighted column represents our base assumptions, and as you move left, lower weighted average cost of capital, higher growth. Valuations increase. As you move right, higher weighted average cost of capital, lower growth. They compress. What this tells me as an analyst is how sensitive in my conclusions is my assumption is if Apple's fair value ranges from low to high across reasonable scenarios, that context matters far more than any single number. This is the driver framework in action, not just computing a number, but understanding the range of outcomes and the assumptions that drive them. Now, let's look under the hood. I want to briefly show you the code because I think it's important to be transparent how this works. At the very top of the file, you'll see the authorship comment. And it is designed and written by Beckett Thomas, myself, in collaboration with Antigravity and Google Gemini. The app is about 1,050 lines of Python built entirely in Streamlit, and let me point out a few key pieces. The function at the top is solve implied growth, is the Reverse-DCF valuation engine. It uses a binary search algorithm to find the exact revenue growth rate that would make the DCF equal to the current market price. It is precise to about 18 decimal places after 60 iterations. Down here is the get company data. As we scroll through, this is the data fetching layer. It handles revenue, margins, capital expenditures, depreciation and amortization, tax rate, cost of debt, net working capital, all pulled from Yahoo Finance and weighed over 3 years. It also detects financial sector companies. It switches margin calculations to avoid misleading 100% gross margin that banks report. And all the way at the bottom, the sensitivity analysis uses custom HTML built table builder because Streamlit's native tables couldn't give us the formatting control we needed. In total, the demo project is about 16,500 lines across all files, including skills, documentations, and configurations. So let me close with a reflection on the process of building this. I didn't start with 1,050 lines of code. I started with a question. How would I actually teach someone to value a company? From there, I worked iteratively. First, getting the basic DCF math right, then adding real data, then refining the UI, then layering in the reverse DCF, pathways, and sensitivity tables. I used AI, specifically Antigravity powered by Google Gemini, as a coding collaborator throughout. Every built decision, every financial assumption, every design choice, those were mine, but AI dramatically accelerated the implementation, debugged, styling, and restructuring the code as the model grew in complexity. I think that's actually a good metaphor for how modern finance works. The judgment, thesis, the narrative. That's all the analysis. The tool, whether it's Excel, Python, or AI, or just how you execute it faster and more precisely. The driver DCF model is designed for educational use. It doesn't give you the answer. It gives you a framework for asking better questions. Thank you for watching. And as a disclosure, AI tools were used. This project was developed with the assistance of Antigravity, an AI coding assistant powered by Google Gemini. AI used was to help write, debug, and refine the Python application code, design the user interface, and structure the financial logic. All financial assumptions, model design decisions, and presentation content were reviewed and directed by Beckett Thomas. Thank you so much.